And Lee Sin, he has 122 career games on it, and his second highest is 66.
You're trying to present with stats. I said they would leave it open and trade it off. I also said it would be Zeri, Ori, Ari bans. So I'm out here establishing these things, right? They happened. Interesting enough, actually, this is mind-blowing. Photic on Xayah. For the first time for the entire split, he's opted to pick it up. The counter, I mean, that's the thing, right? They took the Lee Sin, but Top Esports got both the Aphelios and the Viego, which is why they have to leave it open. And now, oh, I thought we were going to see the Renata come out. Mark has been fantastic on it. But, you know, with the Viego, they want a bit more engaged. And also, single target engage tied to a champion who wants a single target to die. Very effective. We go to the second rotation, right? Both teams haven't picked up their bot lanes and their junglers. Going to come down to these mid and top. Trinimir is still open and available, which is something that V5 have been throwing bans towards, so could see that one taken away. We do see the LeBlanc, which is that carryover from the first three we saw before they were banning, being taken away from Rookie.
Well, we'll see what they finally want to go for. The Vex, very powerful indeed there for Top Esports in game number 2, taken off the board. And honestly, we could just see some pretty big champions being taken away here. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe even see the Galio taken away. Yeah, you got so many ways.
That's the thing is, Knight gets first choice, so whatever he wants, he can get. So banning away Rookie's pool just works fantastically. That was something they talked about at the start of the day, was pinching out mid lane pools. We've seen 3 bans from Top Esports towards Rookie. The Rise is also something denied from him, but actually, in fact, they end up going for the Gnar. Bear in mind, Rich probably going to have to blind pick here.
Rich probably going to have to get himself something that will be relatively safe. Because the Gragas has been something that both Rich and Wayward have played so far. The split and is generally seen as quite a decent, you know, safety kind of blind in that top side. But now for the side of V5, where do you take this last ban? You could keep going for the mid lane. Could keep pinching yourself like you mentioned. No, they're going to go for the Silas, so the Trinimir is available.
Kind of a weird one. I mean, I don't think you're too concerned about the Silas, but it's kind of interesting they banned the Silas, which is something Knight played tons last split. It is something you would pick into Twisted Fate, so maybe they want to go towards that to match the Galio. It would make sense in my mind if they were going to pick that one up. It's something Rookies played before and had a lot of success, or we could see them go in a different direction. I guess we'll just wait and see. In terms of top laners, we talked a bit about the Gragas being safe for Rich, right? Could also go for something like the Jace, but that Trinimir even open just makes things a bit scarier for me. And so they go for the Gragas, right? Jace, obviously, Trinimir, fantastic matchup to punish that one. And also, if you look at the composition of V5, they can very much kite back with the Gragas. And if you're going to do that, something like the Azir or the Viego would make sense. And we'll see what direction they opt to go for.
Yeah, and honestly, I love the Gragas here for Rich because we saw it in our last series. He was bodying 369 in that top side with the Gragas, so definitely something he is prolific at and can now be countered by Top Esports. So you're trying to give Wayward the emote king of the LPL, something that he can maybe get some kind of priority on with. And honestly, if it's a farm fest up on the top side, the Gwen makes a lot of sense.
I don't like the Gwen here just because it's very hard for Gwen to team fight against his V5 composition, right? There's so much to just block you away. Actually, that Jace would make a lot of sense. They're going to go for Gwens. I think this is a bit of a tricky one, right? You don't have the most fantastic setup for the Galio in this composition, right? Your composition is a short-range composition that wants to go forwards. And look at the tools V5 has. Gragas, just body slam anyone who gets close. Lee Sin can kick them away. You have Azir, who has his ultimate to just deny melee champions. And on top of that, we talked about before how the Xayah can just lay down feathers in a fight. I think team fights, you know, on paper, Top Esports, if you just look at their comp, it looks like a nice team fighting comp. But into V5's comp, I think they will struggle. And as a result, I'm really looking at Knight on this Galio to basically cosplay Rookie in game 1 and get things rolling. Otherwise, I think they have a tough time.
Honestly, I love how your time in the LPL has conditioned you to say on paper, because it's like, you know what, sometimes things just, they don't go the way they think you're supposed to go, and they just decide to flip things. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. You know, you finally developed into the LPL analyst,
every single bit of analysis you do in the LPL has to have a massive caveat,
that a massive asterisk at the end. However,
it's that, you know, we've talked a lot about that extra factor. It's kind of like in physics where you have like dark matter. It's like, oh, you know, this thing has to be in place for the universe to work. In LPL, we often call it mojo, but there's just this like extra unknown quantity that just messes up any analysis where you just never really know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is why you have to have that caveat of, this is probably going to go this way, but also I have no idea, so let's
but an
just see.
elephant could join the rift and change everything.
Who really knows?
I think if you really want to try and understand it, you got to talk to Professor Munchables. He has a degree in shenanigan ability, so very, very prominent and very knowledgeable in the ways of the mojo and such. But we are jumping onto the rift. It is only going to be our third game. We are guaranteed at least 4 between V5 and Top Esports, and maybe we go the whole way. But it is V5 now on the blue with Top Esports on the red. V5 had a fantastic game 1 where they absolutely smashed Top Esports, were made to work for their win in game 2, and now we get to see a different side of these two teams. But the Predator being used here on the bot side, ppgod is going to find himself just face to face with the Galio. And honestly, I like this move from V5 just to say, look, we dropped down the vision, we know they might try and go for something, let's just keep ourselves safe.
Yeah, to play safe, you don't mess around with things like the Predator Galio level 1. Can be really obnoxious to go up against. And honestly, I feel like V5, if things go slowly, they can be quite comfortable. I get a little thumbs up trade-off between Wayward and Rich.
I need you to just calm yourself. There's a lot of emotes on the screen right now.
No.
Don't get too excited.
No, shush.
No, you get
I will always observe the emoting. I think it's one of the best ways players can express themselves.
The only
and actually, we had
in-game.
this fantastic one, which was last series between these two, where Wayward was on Malphite and Rich was on Kennen, and Wayward was midway through solo killing him and pops in the mode, and Rich responds. You're midway through getting solo killed, and you respond with the emote. I just love that, and I like that we see those two dropping a few emotes between each other as well. Just a lot of good fun. Despite the fact this is obviously a very heated competition, still able to have a little bit of banter between themselves.
I mean, at the end of it all, yes, it's incredibly high-level competition, but you got to try and, if you're not enjoying it, why are you here? You know, that's kind of how I feel about it anyway. But
for the prestige, the money, you know, the competition itself.
Nah,
a lot of reasons.
It's just a video game, mate. It's just a video game. But the support wars shall be won by the side of Top Esports as Leona has been coerced away, and honestly the good damage here from the Calibrum onto Photic and onto ppgod makes it very difficult for the side of V5 to make anything happen. However, it is still a Xayah, so you still get that pass-through damage onto the backside of minions, who should still hit your level 2 first, and Top Esports respect it.
Yeah, don't want to play around with that, especially the Aphelios, not the best level 1 champion as you don't have an ability. You can just switch between your weapons, which doesn't really add anything in terms of those. The big thing I'm looking towards is Knight in this game, right? You're against Azir. Azir is someone who's very safe in the mid lane, very good at finding priority as well, but not the best at moving compared to a Galio, right? And so that's the thing I'm looking out for, because I give Karsa the edge in the 1v1 jungle matchup, right, in terms of who's going to have more presence on the map. The Lee Sin has been such a pivotal pick throughout playoffs in the LPL.
100% win rate.
100% win rate, yeah.
Even in the games, they probably shouldn't have won with RNG.
And there are a few.
And there's a few of them. There's a couple of them. It's still got a 100% win rate.
Yeah,
and again, like it's such a powerful early game skirmisher. It has to make you have to make good on it.
So I think for the other side, you know, we've seen a bit of an engage come in.
Knight did go down as well, and that's just going to be soaked up here. So a little bit early there from Mark on the Summoners, but as you were saying.
So I think that the Galio needs to be the thing that bridges the gap between them so that Tian can have success and then look to snowball in the Viego, because I do think this Top Esports team, I do think they want to be ahead, because if they end up going even with V5, it becomes difficult. It's not impossible. There are definitely avenues that can be pursued. Speaking of pursuing avenues, Wayward going for a very heavy trade and will force the flash.
Yeah, Ghost was used there. We're going to see there. He's going to eventually pick up the scuttle, but for your life, I don't think that's worth it. First blood goes to the Top Esports as ppgod tries to flash away, but he's followed immediately by Mark. No one else just following him just yet, but you've got the Lee Sin, and you've got yourself the Viego to reset. That's just such a massive blunder here from V5, and again, Top Esports getting themselves a good early start.
Yeah, fantastic start, right? You get the CC down layered onto the Lee Sin. You manage to get the reset coming out from the Viego, and Lee Sin is honestly, we talk about how strong Lee Sin's level 3 is. Tian's like, let me have a taste of that. And, you know, I always find it funny, obviously, when junglers steal away a champion on Viego, you can see how comfortable they are. Tian very comfortable on Lee Sin, I think it goes without saying. And just able to connect the Sonic Wave thanks to Mark, and will pick up the kill. So very good start for Top Esports, and it's something they need. I think if they are ahead in team fights, it makes it a lot easier. I think that behind, they have to get creative with flanks and stuff, but having a good early game, shutting down Karsa, pivotal for their success.
Absolutely huge right there, and honestly, it's pretty significant as well when you think about the champion who was able to get that. It was Tian on the Viego. We've seen it throughout the playoffs. Viego, when he gets rolling, when he gets those early kills going for himself, just becomes an unkillable, unstoppable monster. And this is something that now V5 have to be very aware of. And now with level 6s on the horizon here for the Gwen and the Galio, this is where the game starts to get a little bit tentative. V5, I really feel like that blunder around the scuttle was just not really worth. They didn't even get it. Oh, sorry, they did get it in the end, but it just, you give away 2 kills, and now 1,000 gold down at this stage of the game is actually huge.
That's the thing, right? When you make fights around mid lane, Knight is going to move, and he's going to be so much more valuable than the Azir. The Azir is a very stable, consistent laner. You can take comfort in that, but you cannot just expect him to show up at a skirmish and outmatch the Galio, which is why it was an absolute mistake for V5 to go for that one, and they have paid. But 1,000 gold is a difference right now. It's not too much of a disaster for them ultimately. We did obviously see that flash bit in the top lane. Rich just caught out without his body slam available. For the most part, this matchup should be quite comfortable. If Gwen approaches you, you body slam and you keep away. Do you now see both junglers showing up bot?
Oh, but Tian is going. He's there first, and Karsa can't respond. Straight up, just V5 not respecting the rotation, and we're 3 to a donut right now for top esports.
And Mark in particular has been fantastic so far this game. Very early, but finding both the CC setups for that first pair of kills, and also confident to go for the engage there to take out ppgod. 0-2-0 now for the Leona, and top esports will just transition this into a dragon. So fantastic start, and if Viego is getting ahead, this is what we want for top esports.
I mean, this is significant now goal going over to the side of Tian as we have a look at this replay in here. And again, look, it's just people, they're on vision. They know exactly where you are. You're not fooling anybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? This Leona gets CC layered long enough that she can't pop a W, right? On top of that, it's not an Aftershock Leona, so it's not like you get an insane amount of resistances. Just isn't able to keep herself alive. Karsa's out too late. And that's the fantastic thing about that play, is not only do you find a favorable play, the enemy jungler's there, so it's not like they do anything across the map. Wayward's still pushing this wave in very comfortably. It's going to go unchallenged here. Actually, look for the ult.
Explosive cast was used. Wayward thinking about it. We are not going to see the Emperor's Divide land, and that's going to be rookie now without that very big ultimate. You did use the Heartbreaker from Tian, so it is a trade in terms of that, but...
Slick, though, from both sides. Like,
both
rookie
sides,
looking for a good shuffle, and then Jan getting away on that one. Not having to be in the flash now. They are looking for ppgod.
Oh, my God. He's no flash. He has nowhere to go. And he's just dead. Oh, dearie me. This is starting to become a big problem now. 0-3 right now for the Leona.
And this is a comfort champ for ppgod, right? He has picked Leona consistently. In the last series, they try to get it basically every game for him.
It was banned game 1 against him.
And he's having an absolute disaster performances. And then in the bot side, JackeyLove's super confident to just push up into Photic. Bear in mind, this is Photic's first Xayah game of the entire year, right? So something that V5 hadn't leaned on, and now they are being bullied out on it, right? Bot lane struggling. We've seen jungle struggle. Wayward very comfortable farming up in this matchup. We do see Karsa come to Shadow, but they won't find anything. And Wayward, you know, if you get this Gwen ahead, it is going to be an issue.
Yeah, and the thing is that there was a ward just as Karsa was trying to come into the lane, so he was spotted out. His pathing was known, which probably gave more, you know, agency to JackeyLove to say, cool, I know exactly where I am. I know exactly how I should play this. I'm not going to be caught out randomly by a Flashly Sin Dragon's Rage kick or anything like that. So big moment there for the side of V5 to try and make something happen in terms of making it work in the mid lane, and it goes a bit awry. So now top esports 2,000 gold ahead. They got the early dragon. They're going to have first priority, you would imagine, now onto this Rift Herald. And this is just, again, similar to V5 in game 1. Top esports snowballing with this early game.
This is a faster pace than we even saw in that game 2. Top esports obviously got a big significant lead there, but it did take them a bit of time. And now just finding more and more momentum. They'll get the Herald on the top side without even moving the bot lane, so very comfortable there. And realistically, Karsa's not able to do anything in congestion.
Again, just so much ward, so much good control here from the side of top esports, and they finally feel like they had to take a while to warm up. Game 1, they were as cold as death itself. Game 2, okay, we're a bit rusty, but we're getting back into it. Game 3, they look like a completely different team.
Yeah, 100%. And now things get even more difficult, right? Because one of the things is now the Herald is in pocket of top esports. Karsa is going to struggle to make any plays, because if you show up bot or mid or top, and Tian is on the other side of the map, that's just a signal that he can drop the Herald and look to slam your tower. So top esports, they have the lead, they have the tools to continue that as well, And really, realistically, Tian can just fish for opportunities. If he finds a good opportunity for the Herald, drop it. If not, you kind of know that Karsa is locked into respecting the fact you have it.
Okay, so now we've obviously know top esports are ahead. They kind of have a lot of the cards in their hand. How do V5 mitigate it? How do they try and just get out of this as unscathed as possible without, you know, losing, say, a tower or two or even all these plates that are consistently going in all 3 lanes?
Well, I think critically the thing you want to do is have Karsa not really show anywhere on the map, right? Don't show him vision. And then just move around to where waves are stacked up, right? If you keep doing that, it just means that top esports can't freely throw down a Herald in the side lane because you'll be there to defend and keep the tower alive. If they can't throw it down the side lane, they'll probably just throw it down mid, and you're kind of okay with that because mid is a hard tower to take. And they need the second Herald to crack it because against Azir, you're never taking that mid tower easily. So I think that should be the play. V5 are going to have to be on the defense for a little bit, but it's what they have to do when the enemy team has Herald. You can see bot lane constantly having this large amount of pressure means potentially we see top esports try and set up for a Herald there.
Tian did walk over rewards. They know this is happening right now. You got to be careful though. Moonlight Vigil comes out and that's going to put significant damage down to Photic, who already uses his ultimate. And now with the Galio roaming down, you have to give this up. You can't stay here. You have to just forfeit all this money over to the side of the top esports.
Yeah, and Tian's on the other side of the map, so you're not going to be able to get anything off the back of this. You're not going to be able to defend critically. They might look for Wayward here. Potentially could find a kill, but it's just not an even trade at all.
Ooh, taking that turret shot there for Rich. Flash in, they get the kick, and they get the kill. So, good response here from V5, but they're losing a tier 2, and they're going to lose much more of it. In terms of gold percentage, top esports still coming out trumps.
Like, that's the thing. You go for that play on the top side, and that is just a signal to top esports, take my bot tier 2. And top esports absolutely will, so disaster for V5, right? Karsa being on the top side of the map, Karsa showing as well for that gank, ends up paying back massively towards top esports, and now they're going to look to pick up this dragon as well. I feel like you're at this point of the game, right? You're 4,000 gold up, you have 2 dragons in the lead, your Viego strong, the Lee Sin's behind. These are all massive ticks for top esports taking this game.
I love what top esports are doing right now. We know we've already taken bot. We got a load of time before those plates go down. Swap out the top and the bot. Get yourself more pressure in those lanes. And this is just a straight up, you know, execution of Wayward. He uses the ultimate. Doesn't really get the right amount of, you know, needles onto the back line. So it's kind of always going to be a little bit of pressure. And again, Karsa just doing well on Lee Sin. He's very comfortable on this champion.
Yeah, I mean, Rich is just forcing trades to get Wayward low, and instead of going for the instant Q because there's a W from Gwen, does go for the kick to secure it, doesn't let him counterplay in any way. But, you know, it's one kill. It's not that big of a deal. Top esports still in control. You can see they've sent JackeyLove up to the top side to start applying pressure onto this tower, getting some more plates in pocket, and this Aphelios is going to end up being a monster at this rate.
And he had 4,000 gold lead. 4,000 gold and plates are still up and available. This is top esports with a much more dominant and commanding early game than we've seen all series.
This is what we expect from top esports, right? We've seen this be the team who, you know, do fudge things up a bit in the mid to late, but the early game has been so solid, and this is more what we expected to see out of them. And right now, V5 is holding on and hoping they can mitigate the pressure. Oh no, look at Rich here.
Yeah, he's here. No, the explosive cast puts Wayward behind him. He's going to try and TP down, but I don't think you're going anywhere, buddy. You're going to get Everfrosted into the taunt, and they're going to try and donate that one over to the Wayward fund of Gwen. So that is going to be a very unfortunate situation here for V5. And top esports just more and more advantages.
And he drops the crying Amumu as well. The ultimate tool from Wayward.
Your face lit up.
Dude, he dropped. You were like, he dropped the thumbs up Teemo, right? You know when he got CC chained, he dropped the thumbs up Teemo when the TP got interrupted.
Find you someone who looks at you the same way Aux looks at pro players emoting. That's all I'm saying.
He's just Wayward, man. He has the best emote game in the entire league. You can see here in the bottom right, drops a Teemo thumbs up like he knows what's going down.
It just brings you so much joy. And when you're happy, I'm happy. That's all I'm saying. But now with the top lane being put under pressure, Tian is here. ppgod just defending his pink ward like his life depends on it. 5 seconds till those plates do end up dropping. As we hit the 14-minute mark, it is just about a 4,500 gold lead now in favor of top esports. 2 dragons and an infernal drake as well. So very, very relevant and powerful dragon to potentially be taken here by Soul. V5, you got to start making plays. You got to start doing something.
It's tricky. It's honestly tricky. The thing is, like, the Azir is going to hold up okay in mid. They're going to have to use the second Herald to get a tower. Xayah is a hard target to dive, so I feel like there's a lot of tools to slow the game down for V5, but there's a limited amount to be proactive, unless they can start finding picks. And I think the problem with finding picks is you're against a Galio, so you have to really be confident that you're going to get that kill quickly, or suddenly the Galio slams down, you get CC chain for like 7 seconds, and then you get the follow-up from the rest of the team. So I think V5 are kind of playing this one slow, playing it defensive, but that's not really going to get you back in the game, it's just going to extend it.
That's the thing, it's just going to extend the game out, and Top Esports...
But we have seen Top Esports, the longer the game goes, the more chances there is for them to mess something up.
I will agree with that, but you got a Gwen, an Aphelios, a Viego, you got pretty decent late game scaling available to you, and with another Rift Herald, they're going to accelerate that a little bit more. Rift Maker is available, they're going to try and go for the exact same play they went on a few minutes ago. You've got the flash belly bop into the explosive cast, and the kick is going to be available, but not quite used just there and then, and Wayward survived. This is the problem with the Gwen. If you don't burst them down immediately, they're just going to run away.
Yeah, not much you can do there against Wayward, just dodging away from the Sonic Wave quickly from Karsa. CC didn't last long enough.
Oh, Gale Force. JackeyLove keeps himself safe. Feel like if he gets stunned by that, or even closer to the edge of it, he is almost certainly going to die. There's plenty available. Karsa hasn't been seen, and that's going to be JackeyLove getting flash kicked over the wall and almost certainly taken out. Karsa picks up that kill.
Oh, so slick, just hiding literally around the wall, like a millimeter away from him, but he can't see you. Finds a kick opportunity, and that's the sort of picks that you want to see. Those quick, snappy picks. The Galio can't respond. You find an opportunity, you translate it into damage on this mid lane tower. This is going to be the Gwen TPing in, but...
Oh, it's going to be difficult. They might have overstayed their welcome just a little bit. And the problem is now, your health bars are very low. 30 seconds till Dragon. You need a reset right now if you're V5.
I think they might just sack this Dragon, honestly. Which sounds rough. Don't get me wrong, but
ppgod.
Hard one to contest.
He's in a lot of trouble here if he can't get himself out. The Everfrost is good from the Galio, and actually it's going to be Rich paying for the sins of his support right there. And Top Esports, not to be outdone, will keep pushing forward and get themselves into that mid lane. They haven't got the Rift Herald dropped just yet, but that tower is almost certainly dead.
Yeah, as soon as they throw the Herald down, the tower's gone. And you can see it is hard to take that tower against the composition V5 have if you try and do it naturally, which is why this Herald's so important. But ultimately, V5 can't contest this Dragon. It's going to be Soul Point, right? And Top Esports, this is a big win con for them because they need that. I think that's the thing, is we've seen V5 have tools to slow the game down. Top Esports, you want to just continue this momentum and give no opportunity for V5 to get in. Remember, last game we saw a lead from Top Esports, and it was taking towers of the objective bounty that really managed to bring it back. Now, I find this hilarious. I find the angle that Karsa took here.
Walks up. You just don't expect it. He's literally in the line.
The line
of vision is insane.
You can't even... I feel like it's so hard to fault JackeyLove for that because you can't... He had a ward in the lane as well. He walked right through the pocket of vision. It's just one of those unfortunate situations where someone just plays something really well, and Rich ends up dying for his support. I feel like ppgod, they probably should just let him go. He's already 0-3. It's not going to change much, but either way, it's a third Dragon for Top Esports. It's a 5k gold lead. They still have the Herald in pocket, and I expect that to go down mid.
5k Herald still yet to be used. They are on Soul Point as well, Infernal Soul Point, so massively relevant Dragon available to them as well. And honestly, this game is just getting slowly harder and harder to kind of deal with. Interesting build path here from Rich. He's gone for the Chemtech, the Turbo Chem Tank, excuse me, but it also looks like he's going towards a Morello, so kind of half damage, half tank. It's an interesting one.
I mean, I feel like you can do whatever you want on Gragas. Like, it sounds funny, but I feel like you can build anything on this champion and it works. And ultimately, you can just set an Oblivion Orb, right? You don't have to fully commit into anything else. I think that's the one thing with the Bramble Vest, is to proc the Bramble Vest, you have to auto. And in a lot of these team fights, Wayward just won't be autoing you, right?
Very true.
Ulting across the team, autoing someone else. So Oblivion Orb is the better. If you're just sitting on a little component to apply Grievous Runes, the Oblivion Orb is going to serve you better.
That's very fair. You can already see it doing its work there. The little orange heart with the cross on it on the right-hand side of the champion. If you're wondering exactly where and when you want to see where the Grievous Runes are applied, as V5 now try and gain control back of their top side of their jungle. You know, it's never really a good time when you have to use your Scryer's Blooms defensively to see where all the vision is, but they have got some pretty decent room now up in this top side to try and maybe take a tower, a kill if someone from Top Esports overextends. Wayward is getting pretty big though, almost towards his Nashor's Tooth alongside that Riftmaker, and his bot lane's going to become harder and harder for Rich to just try and contain.
I'm such a simple man. I see emotes, I smile. That is how it is. But yeah, I think, you know, ultimately Gragas is decent wave clear. You also have the Chem Tank proc, the Empowered Auto to help thin out the minions. I don't think that Wayward can just walk up and start taking towers. And that's where things get a little bit more difficult, right, to close out the game, which is why stacking those dragons early is so important, right? This is a game where top esports were this far ahead, but V5 had all the dragons. We could see it going on and on and on and on, as games with Azirs tend to do so. But the fact that they have that momentum, I know, 2 minutes, there's going to be a fight. And V5, you can't really opt out of that one. You have to be able to find a window to make it work. And the question is going to be how. I think the critical thing is you need to try and get to the area early and get some vision control down. Flanks are deadly. If Galio, if Gwen are on your flank, you just lose. If you can play it, though, front to back, that's where V5's composition does well. I think that's what I was kind of talking about. Well, no, that is what I was kind of talking about in draft, why I like V5's composition in the top esports, because they have so many tools to make it difficult for these melee champions. You're against 4 melee champions and a short-range AD carry. If you can keep them at bay, great. But the second that Galio or Gwen's behind you, it's done.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty self-explanatory way of looking at it from the side of top esports. If you can get your Gwen onto a flank, it is going to be rough for V5 and fantastic for top esports. But minute now until Dragon spawns are just over it, and both teams now kind of hovering around this mid lane. You would love to take down this mid lane turret as a side of V5. It is tantalizingly close, but you have got a Xayah, not really the greatest of ranged AD carries to try and just go over and take it, so you have to respect that and hope you get an opportunity.
The important thing is being here early, trying to get mid priority, trying to contest vision on this side, but they're still afraid of top esports, right? They're at a 6,000 gold deficit. They know if like an engage comes out, they will just lose the dragon. But they are trying to get some vision in the area. I think that's the thing. If top esports have control of the dragon area early, and you have to push in and throw down wards, that is when it gets so easy to find a flank, because you have to be quick with the vision. You can't establish complete control, because already top esports are trying to clean these wards out.
Here we go, though. You're just shy of the Mana Mune turning into a Mer Mana right now for the Xayah. So that would be a massive 2-item spike. You can see the Photic just running up, just try and get that upgraded as soon as physically possible. Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. TP coming in here for Knight. He's going to put himself in the mid lane. Moonlight Vigil is massive onto 3. The flank is there. They haven't even used the Galio ultimate just yet. They're going to have the feathers going flying as they try and just run away from this V5. Haven't lost anybody just yet, but ppgod is the first casualty, followed by Rookie, and top esports take away that fight, and they take themselves soul.
Beautiful engage, and it's JackeyLove who sets it up with the ultimate. And as I said, Wayward on the backline, nowhere for them to run back to because you don't have your flanks covered. Top esports going to dominate and win in that team fight and will pick up the soul as well. You can see big ult from JackeyLove to start this off. Get that AoE damage down. Mark follows up with the ult, and then you're trying to move backwards. Wayward is there. And honestly, it's a beautiful cast for Rich to separate, but the team feels scattered. They don't have a defensive front. They do finally manage to escape towards the Azir tower, but the fight is lost. The dragon is gone, and the Baron too.
This game is looking fantastic for top esports as they just continue to get more and more advantages. A 8,000 gold lead at 23 minutes. Infernal Soul, a Baron. You have everything at your disposal right now as top esports, but Knight may have overstayed. He is going to get flashed in on top of by the Gragas. Explosive cast down. There's his ult, and he's out as well. So they use it so much, and there's just nothing for V5.
That's the problem. They use all the CC to get him into position to target him, and then he just ults away. They don't even get the kill on tonight. They do get the tower and some shutdown goal, but man, top esports, 7,000 gold lead. Baron in pocket. Infernal Soul as well. It is feeling disastrous for V5.
It's just so difficult right now. Thankfully for them, this isn't the end of the road should they lose this game, but top esports, again, game 1, very difficult for them. They look like they weren't really at the races at all. Game 2, they won, but they had to work for it. Game 3, they are smacking V5 in the same sense they were smacked in game 1. And this is great to see if you're a top esports fan, because it took a while for them to warm into the series, but they are here to play.
We see JackeyLove playing aggressive with the Gale Force fishing for windows. We do have Wayward in the side lane, just trying to not show so he gets collapsed on, but we can see Knight pushing up that top wave, setting that one up as Mark and Tian try and contest vision here. going to be very hard to defend. You can see even critically, Knight is actually holding this wave. They're trying to get the waves to crash at the same time. You can see, as soon as he sees one mid, pushes them both in, 2 waves of pressure.
Oh!
Karsa looks for it.
Karsa looks for it, but JackeyLove has too much mobility with his flash, with his Gale Force, everything available. The feathers do a lot of work, but not enough. And that's a double kill going over to the Viego. Triple kill for Tian. And this is going to be the game. There's nothing you can do. You still have a minute on the Baron. Top Esports will take themselves the match point.
V5 can't even defend against the Baron. And what a stark difference from Game 2. Top Esports, a team who we've seen through playoffs have some issues with closing out, especially in the later games, have a very convincing win. Does look like it might take a bit more time, though. V5 still trying to defend. Top Esports have waves coming in. And Dredgeline does miss. You do have the Azir wave clear available to you. You can see Knight going in forward, trying to see if he can land someone with the Everfrost, but not quite able to do it. The Gwen's immunity means that those towers are but paper to the scissors as the Aphelios takes the kill. A double going over to the side of JackeyLove. Triple kill to JackeyLove. A quadra kill for JackeyLove as Top Esports decimate V5 and put themselves up 2-1 in the series. Even with the respawns, they are so far behind they cannot defend their own base. They end up losing. And this is reminiscent of Game 1, but flipped. Top Esports, after a rough series we saw earlier in the week, get a convincing win come out, right? And that was very textbook. They had the early advantages. They didn't have any hesitation. And now, seeing that game, seeing them 2-1 up against V5, I'm feeling concerned for V5. Honestly, it's a complete flip, night and day, as you have said so far. Like, the difference between Game 1, even Game 2, and Game 3 for Top Esports, and honestly, even for V5, is staggering right there. V5, honestly, we can see why Photic doesn't play the Xayah. He doesn't look comfortable on it. It looks like he's completely lost. Not even first game in the playoffs. First game for V5, the entire split, the entire year, playing Xayah, and it's a loss where he just looked like he didn't have the impact. Just didn't look comfortable on it. That's the thing, right? They prioritized that Lee Sin, and that's why I love the fact that Top Esports took the Aphelios, because that's kind of been the trade-off. Teams against V5 have gone, we'll take Xayah, you take Aphelios. But when you turn it around, you're putting V5 in an uncomfortable spot, because they can't just say, oh, we're not going to take Xayah. But because they haven't been put into this position before, they've gotten away with it. And I think it was really heads up from Top Esports. And then it came to the skirmishing as well. The Galio, once again, a massive factor, because V5 opted into that fight around the scuttle that backfired so heavily. And once the Lee Sin got behind, it kind of just felt like the whole team was playing, okay, let's just wait. Yeah. Till what? What are you waiting for? But never came. And also, first loss of the playoffs for Lee Sin. First actual loss for Lee Sin. So, the dynamic of the jungle's pool becomes a little bit more skewed. It's no longer this godly pick that can't be beaten. Well, I think I know which is the godly pick, and it isn't Lee Sin. It's not Lee Sin anymore, but that's the thing. Like, it did feel like coming into the series, it was this, like, all-encompassing. Like, we saw it banned twice by V5 in Game 1 and in Game 2. They felt like it was going to be, like, a big pick. And now it's Viego. That is the god pick, right? It is just pick Viego and win has been the message of this series. And I think the thing is, Viego scales very well, right? If you get a lead on Viego, it can take you throughout the game. But also, you're strong on those skirmishes, right? You do need a bit of assistance from your team. You need teammates who can get people low, particularly things like the Galio Nort we saw in that first skirmish that have the CC to target out the Lee Sin and get him into low health. But then as soon as you get that reset, there's just so much value. That champion is insane. Yep. You kill one champion, even before 6. Obviously at 6, it's even more intense because you get your ultimate. But it's like, cool, I now have another whole set of abilities to use. Oh, we got another kill? Another whole set of abilities. And man, that is the cleanest gold grab. I was just about to say. Top Esports we've seen in a long time. Just the smoothness of it. There's little tiny blips, but it's definitely not as staggering as we've previously seen. Top Esports should take that gold graph. They should frame it and put it on their wall. Good job, right? That is what we want to see more.